Hi gardeners. As you probably know if you've been gardening for a while, it is really difficult to start carrots in the fall time. It's still hot out, those seeds dry out, and you're done. Well, I'm going to show you how to give yourself the very best chance at getting sprouts for your carrots. Let's take a look. So the first thing I want to show you is I have a bed here, and I just laid compost in. The only problem is the compost is very chunky. This compost is really chunky, and that's not the best for seed germinating. So I'm going to give you a couple ways to take care of that. The first way is to get some kind of screen and screen your soil. Now, this happens to be a barbecue pan. You can use this or something else, doesn't matter, as long as you can sift that dirt. So what we're going to do is just take a bunch of that dirt, and you're going to see the difference right away. So now we have all of our soil sifted. This is what it looks like. You can see that's much better for planting carrot seeds. It's going to help with your germination. But we're going to do even more. The number one thing that will stop your seeds from germinating is when your seeds dry out. So we're going to soak this bed. And I know you've probably heard, don't saturate your soil. That's great if you're indoors, but we're outdoors and we've got the hot sun. This soil needs to be wet and it can't dry out for your seeds. When I say saturate, I mean saturate. Now that our soil is all saturated, we're going to plant our carrots. These are the two carrots I always plant in the fall time. I plant the new Corota, which is a very sweet carrot, and I plant red Kyoto, which is even sweeter than the new Corota. Both of these varieties do really well in the fall time. I'm going to sprinkle these seeds right on top. And I'm trying not to seed too closely together. But if we do, I'm going to thin them out later. I like the new Corota seeds because they're small, but they're not real tiny. You can still see where they're going. Once we thin these out, we're going to thin them out to 2 inches apart. But first, we have to get them to sprout. All right, gardeners, all of our seed is down. Now, here's the part that really helps them out. I'm going to be placing our seed starting mix over top. Now, if you're not familiar with our seed starting mix, the next video coming up will show you how to make it. And for this application, I'm going to use twice as much vermiculite. So, if you're not familiar with vermiculite, vermiculite holds moisture, and that's what we want for these seeds. Let's take a look at what it looks like. So you can see these little dots that are lighter, that's the vermiculite. And that's going to keep this soil nice and moist. All right, now what we're going to do is we're just going to put a light covering over those seeds. Maybe about a 1/4 inch. What you're doing is you're making a wet blanket. And this is even finer for the seed to take hold. Now that we have our seed starting mix covered over top, we need to protect it so the moisture doesn't come out. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a vapor barrier, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to take some nice clean cardboard and we're going to wet it. And we're going to wet both sides so that this gets soggy. And then we're going to lay this on top. All right, we have our cardboard all wet. We have to do one thing more before we put this down, and that is we have to take a 5-second break to grab one of my cherry tomatoes. These are my Sun Gold tomatoes. Best cherry tomato you are ever going to try. That's the best part about being a gardener. All right, enough goofing around. Let's wet these seeds in gently, and then we're going to lay the cardboard on top. As you're watering, you want to make sure that the seeds are not moving. So you don't want to hit it with a real hard mist. You want it to be a light mist. Okay, let's put our cardboard down. Try not to disturb those seeds. If it doesn't cover perfectly all the way, it's okay. And there you have it. Our bed is covered with our cardboard. Everything is wet and moist. And carrot seeds can take up to 3 weeks to germinate. So you have to kind of have more patience in the fall time because it may even take a little longer. What happens a lot of times is we plant our bed and a couple weeks go by and we don't think it was successful. And then another week goes by and they start popping up. But sometimes we get impatient and we start putting more seeds down. Well, that's not going to do you any good because you're going to have overcrowded carrots and a lot of thinning to do. So now you know how I do my carrots. I've been doing this for a long time. It works, and I wish you all the best. Check out the next video so that you know how to make my seed starting mix. What happened? Hey, I almost forgot to show you what it looks like when they start sprouting. Look at all those plants. We'll thin these out later on.